Hey everybody, Tom here from Hachette Board Games. What have I been playing this month? Dinner in Paris. This is a family weight strategy game for 2 to 4 players, designed by Funny Fox. It's distributed in the UK by Hachette, who I met those guys at UK Games Expo and I was able to see quite a lot of their catalogue, and they've got some really interesting titles, so definitely somebody to look out for in the future. But today we're looking at Dinner in Paris, so join me as we take off the box lid and see what's inside. So first things first, we've got this Parisian plaza. The other players are going to be rival restaurateurs trying to build up businesses around this plaza and terraces that sort of sprawl out of them. You start the game with a hand of 4 ingredient cards, and your turn starts with you drawing one from this public flop. Then you take 2 actions. One of them could be to take another card, or you can spend cards to claim a restaurant. In this example, potatoes, tomatoes, cheese and chops gets you a grill. The grill's income provides 2 coins per round. Once you've built it, you can place it anywhere on the outer edge of the plaza. Here looks good, so now just a finishing touch, a roof. Another option is I can now spend my income to build terraces leading out of that restaurant. I'll build from the left hand side, paying the cost above, and I'll earn the points below. When you place terraces, you're going to situate them outside of your restaurant, leading out into the plaza. If you cover up any pigeon cards, woohoo, you get a pigeon card. Pigeon cards offer either an anytime bonus or an immediate bonus you get to activate straight away. There's also a series of both secret and public objectives that you're trying to complete before the end of the game in order to score points. If you've got some in your hand and you haven't completed them by the end, you lose points. You're going to get dealt 2, you're going to pick one to keep, and the other becomes public property for anyone to claim during the game. Now, these public gold cards come in 2 different types. One might be to try and arrange your terraces in the pattern shown, like this or like this, for example. Meanwhile, others might try to have you surround your terraces around items on the board, or have them in particular sections of the grid. Much like in Ticket to Ride, when you've got your private tickets in that, you score points if you have completed the objectives. If you haven't completed them by the end of the game, you lose those points. So there's definitely a sense of urgency. So, initial thoughts on Dinner in Paris? My gut impression was that this would remind me of Ticket to Ride, and I was correct. There's many features here that I think run parallel to Alan R. Moon's classic, but I think there's definitely enough differences to allow you to own both in your collection. Both have private goal cards that you're trying to achieve, and this involves an element of racing against other players to complete these objectives. And there's elements of area control, I suppose, when you place your terraces down. A core part of the game involves you drafting a card from a public flop using hand management to then spend those ingredient cards to then buy various restaurants. Of course, this is the replacement for an actual rail route in Ticket to Ride, if you want to think of it that way. Yeah, but there are plenty of differences that make it stand apart from Ticket to Ride. This board is really, really interesting in that you can chase different types of terraces that, of course, cost different amounts but provide you with different points. And of course, depending on when you hit certain thresholds, that's going to increase your income, which means you can then buy more terraces. Terraces are definitely a major part of this game. Something that I found really interesting when I played this as a 4-player game, and I was the 4th player in turn order. I was late to the game in building those expensive restaurants, and therefore wasn't able to physically buy any expensive terraces that could lead out of those restaurants, and I struggled to keep up in that regard. So my strategy in that game was to try and complete as many public objectives as possible. I managed to get a respectable score, but I wasn't able to compete really with the players that went for those big restaurants. So I'd be keen to see if that was a strategy that you really can't afford to fall behind on. But other than that, I've really enjoyed Dinner in Paris. I think I'd call it a Gateway Plus. game, a kind of step up from the base game of Ticket to Ride at least. And yeah, just absolutely gorgeous table presents. I love these components. I must admit, having to stick these stickers on here though was a little bit stressful. I actually got a spare pack of stickers here. You can see this is how they started, and having to stick them on here was quite an element of precision, but I managed to get it done. But I'm really pleased with the final results. I think they look really cool. And if I were a painter, I'd definitely consider giving these a lick of paint. And I think they'd look even more amazing when sat there on your table. So that was Dinner in Paris.